Okay, guys, welcome to Basic. Hope everyone's having a good morning. So we're going to continue to work a little bit on least common multiple, but then I do want to get into, sometimes we get an answer where it's an improper fraction. So I want to talk a little bit about how we make sure we convert improper fractions to mixed numbers. Okay, I'm going to wait about another minute before we get started. Okay, all right, so let's say these two are fractions. We had 3/60 plus 1/8. Okay, so we see that we don't have a common denominator, so we got to find a common denominator. Remember when I said sometimes we have bigger numbers, it's important to find a common denominator. So there's a couple things we could do here, but I'm going to just factor out this 60 here. Okay, so 60, we're going to go 30 times 2, or 30 and 2. This is going to be 15 and 2. And this is going to be 5 times 3. So what we have at the bottom for 60 would be 5 times 3 times 2 times 2. And if we do the 8 over here, we're going to get 4 times 2. And then this 4 would be 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so now we've got to kind of add these together. So what we see over here is we have a 5 times 3 times 2 times 2. So we already have two 2's over here. So we just cross those out and we'd add one more. And if we add all those together, or excuse me, multiply those together. So 5 times 3 is 15 times 2, that's going to be 30, times 2 is 60, times the last 2 is 120. So for 60 and 8, our least common multiples could be 120. So these are both going to be over 120 over here. So it's going to be over 120 and 120. Okay, so 60 times 2 is going to be 120. And we multiply the tops, that's going to be 6. Now, how many times does 8 go into 120? It's going to be 15. So this one's going to be 21 over 120. Okay. So what's going to happen, you guys, when you get on the test is you might see the answer to the question 21 over 120. Okay, that might be one of the answers. But if it's not, doesn't mean you got the wrong answer, but sometimes we have to simplify. And in this case, we know that 3, you might not know it, but 3 goes into 21 7 times, and 3 goes into 120 40 times. So even though we got 15 over 100, or 21 over 120, excuse me, this answer here, this can be reduced. So the answer might be 7 over 40. So you're going to have to look. And when you first get your answer, don't think it's necessarily wrong if you don't see that answer, because sometimes it just needs to be reduced. Okay. And what I want to talk about too, sometimes we get, we've gotten this when you'll get an improper fraction. That's when, say, for example, we get 16 over 12. Okay. So what an improper fraction means, I'm just going to put improper, is the numerator, which in this case is the top number, is bigger than the denominator. So it'd be an improper fraction when the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So you might get 16/12 as an answer. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but what we have to do is we have to really we have to convert this to a mixed number. And a mixed number means it has a whole number and a fraction. And how are we going to do that? Okay, so what you would always do is when you have an improper fraction like this one, 16 over 12, you're going to divide the bottom number into the top number. So it looks something like this, 12 into 16. We know 12 goes into 16 one time. And we do 1 times 12. And what's going to be left over is 4. And the leftover number always goes over the divisor right here. So it'd be 1 and 4/12 is how we convert 16 over 12 into a mixed number. And when you look at 1 and 4/12, once again, that might not be the answer. You might have to basically reduce, and we know that 4 goes into 12 3 times. So really what this would be is 1 and 1/3. So the thing I want to show you is these are all equal. It's the exact same fraction. So 1 and 4/12, 1 and 1/3, and 16 over 12 are all exactly the same fraction. Okay, but in this case, the 16 over 12, it's an improper fraction. Okay, in this one, 1 and 4/12, it's a mixed number, but it can be reduced. We want to try to get to the simplest terms. Okay, and the simplest terms would be the one in the middle, 1 and 1/3. Okay, so you have to, when you have like a multiple choice question where you're doing a math problem, you might have gotten 16/12, which we did when we basically did 6/20. What was the original one here? Oh, yes. When we originally did this, we basically, when we found 60 and 8, we got all the way down to 16 over 12. Okay, but we had to do a little more work. And that's why sometimes using the least common multiple is going to save you the most time. Okay, that's why sometimes using the prime factorization is the quickest method. So let's do another one. Okay, and I'm just going to say, we're just going to say we get like 24 over 7. Okay, once again, 24 over 7 is an improper fraction because the top number, the numerator, is bigger than the denominator. 24 is bigger than 7. Okay, and that's considered an improper fraction. So what we have to do is we're going to have to divide the bottom number, the denominator, and the numerator. So in this case, we'd be 7 into 24. We know that goes 3 times. 7 times 3 is 21. And the remainder is 3. So we put the 3 over the top of the 7. So it'd be 3 and 3/7. And 3/7, nothing can go into both those numbers. They're both prime numbers. So 24 over 7 is the same as 3 and 3/7. So these two things are exactly equal. Okay. And if we get, so how we basically take 24 into 7, we do the exact opposite if we have a mixed number, like I'll use 3 and 3/7. If we need to turn that into a proper fraction to do like a multiplication problem, we would multiply the 7 times the 3, which is 21, add the top, and then that becomes 24/7. So it's just the exact opposite. Okay, because sometimes we are going to need to use improper fraction when we're doing sometimes multiplication, division. So it's the exact same number, and the process is just the opposite. Instead of dividing, we're multiplying. So when you have a mixed number like 3 and 3/7, and you need to turn it into improper fraction, which means top number is bigger than the bottom number, you would just multiply the bottom number, the numerator, times the whole number, and that's 21. And then you add the numerator to it, and that gives you 24/7. Okay, so let's convert another mixed number. Okay, so say we just have, we'll take a simple one, 2 and 1/2. Now we want to convert that to a mixed number. So we'd multiply 2 times 2, which is 4, plus the 1, and that would be 5/2. And then if we want to convert, so these two equal each other. Okay. So we'll do another one. We'll keep a small number here. If we do 3 and 3/4, remember a mixed number, we have a whole number, mixed fraction. We have a whole number and a fraction. That's a mixed number. It's a mix of a whole number and a fraction. So in this case, we do the 4 times the 3 is 12, plus the 3 is 5. So that's going to be 15/4. And these two are exactly the same fraction. Okay, and then for 15/4, if we want to convert that back, if we got 15/4, you would divide the 4 into the 15. 4 goes 3 times, and there's going to be 3 left over, and we're just going to put that over there. So that's 3 and 3/4. So when you see a mixed number or an improper fraction, you have to keep in mind, well, there's going to be a fraction that's exactly the same. And either I have to convert it. So either I'm going to, if it's a mixed number, so this case, 3 and 3/4, I'm going to have to do some multiplication. And if it's a improper fraction, I'm going to have to do some division. So a mixed number would be multiplication. And if you can remember, mixed, I'm going to have to multiply. So there's that. So remember the M. Mixed means multiply. And if it's an improper, we're going to have to divide. So if you have a mixed number and we want to convert it to an improper fraction, remember you're going to multiply. So mixed number, 2 2/3. Mixed means we're going to multiply. So it'd be 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 2 is 8/3. And we have an improper fraction, 8/3, we're going to have to divide. So 3 is going to go into the 8. It's going to go 2 times 6. 2 is going to be left over, so 2 and 2/3. So basically, you guys, just keep in mind, for every mixed number, there's going to be an improper fraction that's exactly equal to it. And when you have an improper fraction, there's going to be a mixed number that's exactly equal to that. Okay? Because sometimes, like I said, when you get a multiple choice question, you're going to get an answer. You're going to think it's right, which it is, but you're going to have to do a little more digging, being like, oh, maybe I have to convert that improper fraction to a mixed number. Or maybe even the mixed number, I'm going to have to basically convert that mixed number to an improper fraction, or mixed number to improper fraction, improper number into a mixed fraction, okay? Because when we start getting into, which we'll pick up maybe next week, when we start multiplying and dividing fractions, if we get a mixed number, we'll have to convert that to an improper fraction. And I'll show you the reason why we get to that next week. But just remember, you guys, let's do one more when we're getting kind of a bigger number. So if we have like, let's say 50, we'll say 2/50 plus, I don't know here, let's say 1/12. Okay. You could basically, like I told you, can always multiply these times each other, and that would give you 600. And that's going to be, we know both 50 and 12 go into that because you multiply them times each other, but that might take you a while. Okay, so let's try to do this. We're going to prime factor this out. So we're going to go 5 times 10. We know 5 is the prime factor here, but 10 isn't, but we know that 10 is 5 times 2. So what we have is 5 times 5 times 2. That gives us 50. And for 12, if we break that down, we're going to go, you can do it a couple ways. You can do 6 times 2 or 3 times 4. So let's do 6 times 2. We know 2 is a prime number, but then we're going to break this down. It's going to be 3 times 2 times 2. So we have a 5, we have a 5, and we have a 2. So one of these 2's we don't need, but we're going to need another 3, or 1 3, and another 2. And this is going to give us our least common multiple, or common denominator. So it'd be 25 times 2 is 25 times 25 is 50. That's going to give us 50. Times 3 is 150. Times 2 is 300. So 2/50 plus 1/12, they're both going to be over 300. Okay, and then obviously we're just going to 50 goes into 300 6 times, that's 12. And 12 goes into 300. Let me see, is it 25 times? 25 it is. Goes 2 times, 25 times. So it's 25 times 1 is 25. And then what you're going to get is 37 over 300. Okay. And then 37 actually, you guys, is a prime number because nothing else goes into 37 but 1 and 37. So that's actually going to be the answer here. It's going to be 37 over 100. So doing the prime factorization, sometimes you're going to get the lowest number. It's going to save you the most time, okay? Because if we, just to show you, it would have taken you probably a little bit of time if you had a multiplication chart that took the 12s all the way out. So you would do 50, I'll just show you, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. We know it's 300. But the 12 is going to take you, I'll show you, 12, if you did it that way, would take us quite a while because it'd be 12, well, come on, pen, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, 120, 132, 144, 156, 168, 170. See how long it's going to take me? 182, 194, 206, 218, 230, 242, 254, 276, 288, 300. I finally got there. We see that 300 and 300, but you know, you spend a lot of time doing that, and doing the prime factorization is going to save you some time. Um, you can certainly, with smaller numbers, this one works a little bit easier. But like I said, when you get bigger numbers, you're going to spend a lot more time doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and post a couple more worksheets on trying to find the least common multiple. And we will try to wrap this up tomorrow. So if you have any questions, contact me. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.